Hello YouTube, in today's video we're going to talk about MK677 and most importantly why exactly did I change my opinion about this drug. So if you were to ask me, let's say 2 years ago, what's my opinion on MK677, I would say to you, man, that's a great drug. It's like a cheaper version of growth hormone, almost same as good. It has many benefits, it builds muscle, it makes you stronger, it improves your skin, nails, like everything. It burns fat and so on, so I would really glorify this drug when I was younger, but then over the time when I was using it more and more and more, and also when using it with my clients and when listening to other people that have experiences with this drug, I've realized, man, this drug, it's really not as good as I thought it is. And the reason for that is because it can have much more side effects than I thought it can have. So we can't deny that MK677 is a very powerful drug. It's a very powerful growth hormone secretagogue. So taking MK677 is like taking, I don't know exactly, don't take me for a word, but I think 2 to 3 units of growth hormone, which is for that price is like, it's a really powerful drug. So I'm still not like shitting on this drug and saying like, oh, this drug is completely useless, I don't see any use for it, it's garbage, don't ever take it. No, I still think it could be used in some situations and it could be a good drug to use for a short period of time. For example, if you don't really have the money to buy real growth hormone, or you don't have a source for growth hormone, or you just don't trust your source enough, then MK677 might be useful for short periods of time during the bulk, or for example, if you are recovering from some injury and you want to speed up the recovery, then yes, for sure, I think for the short periods of time, MK677 can definitely be used. But of course, only in case real growth hormone is not available to you. But if you can get real growth hormone, rather pay some more money and by all means, go for a growth hormone and not MK677. Now, let's get into it. So, why exactly did I change my opinion on MK677? Why do I think that it's not such a good drug and I would not use it that often, or I wouldn't use it at all? Because like honestly, if I'm to use MK677 again, I'll rather pay for the real growth hormone and I'll use that instead of MK677. So, and let's start with the main side effect of MK677, and honestly, if this wasn't the side effect of it, I would probably use this drug much more often. I would say it's an awesome drug, but that's the main issue, that's the main problem with MK677, and that is that it can severely worsen your insulin sensitivity. It can make you insulin resistant. In some extreme cases, it may even make you pre-diabetic or even diabetic. So why would anyone want this to happen? And even if it doesn't throw you into the pre-diabetic state, which it probably won't if you're young and if you train and if you eat right and all that, I still don't think it's worth it, because like in any case, you don't want to worsen your insulin sensitivity, because as a bodybuilder, you probably know that the more insulin sensitive you are, the more muscle you're gonna build and the more fat you're gonna burn, and also you'll be healthier if you're more insulin sensitive. So I think if you take MK677 for short period of time, like let's say you say, okay, I don't have an access to real growth hormone, so I'm gonna take MK677 for 3 weeks because, for example, I injured my shoulder, so I want to increase my growth hormone levels a little bit, so I recover from the injury faster. Or for example, you're at the end of your bulk and you want to push through plateau and like increase your strength and like really gain those extra 2-3 kilos. Then yes, for the short period of time, I think MK677 can definitely be used, but it's not something that I would use, that I would rely on to bulk, for example, or to cut on, or use for 3, 4, 5 months, So that was problem number 1, and also the main problem with MK677. Now let's move on to other things that are also not that cool with MK677. So second thing is the bloat. So basically MK677 can really make you bloated. So especially if you're on a bulk, like for example, now I'm bulking, so imagine, for example, if I take today even just 10 milligrams of MK677, tomorrow I'll probably have like 1.5 to 2 kilos more. If I continue to take it, probably in a week I would hold like 3 kilos of extra fluid. And man, if you pair like high carb diet with MK677, you can really hold a lot of water, and that will definitely very negatively affect your heart and your blood pressure. It can definitely increase your blood pressure a lot just because of all this extra fluid retention. So This, like, if you're someone that has naturally very low blood pressure and you don't have problems with that and your heart is very healthy and all that, then this is not that much of a problem if you're a bit more bloated. But if you're someone that already has high blood pressure and then if you add MK677 on top, it can really create a problem. So that is another very silly thing with MK677 that I really dislike. So yeah, it can really make you bloated. The third issue with MK677 is that it increases ghrelin and then also cortisol. So basically think about MK677 as a ghrelin mimetic. So when you take this drug, you increase the ghrelin, and then ghrelin stimulates the release of growth hormone, and then through that mechanism you kind of increase your growth hormone levels. So the issue is that ghrelin, as you may know, is the hunger hormone. So yes, when you take ghrelin, it makes you hungrier, but that's not the main issue. The main issue is that when ghrelin is high, fat loss is much harder to achieve. And then also with that, here comes the increase in cortisol. So basically, yes, on one hand, you have the increase in growth hormone, which kind of burns fat. But on the other hand, you have the increase in ghrelin, the increase in cortisol, and the decrease in insulin sensitivity, which are all three very bad for fat loss. So if you're taking MK677 for the sake of losing fat, you're taking it for the wrong reason, because MK677 is a pretty shitty fat loss drug, to be honest. So then the fourth issue with MK677 is that it can cause increases in prolactin. Honestly, I've also saw the gynecomastia developing from MK677 use, even though I need to know that it was in combination with nandrolone, I think. So it's hard to say whether it was coming from the nandrolone or NK, but probably I think it was the combination of both. So be very cautious if you're taking MK677 alongside with some other drugs that can increase prolactin, like for example nandrolone or trembolone or something like that. So but not just gyno, like also increases in prolactin can cause other issues, like it can lower your libido, lower your mood and all that. So definitely, like if you're using MK677, it would be wise to check prolactin and monitor it on your blood work. So that's it. And then one more issue that I found really annoying with MK677, as I told you, I used this drug quite a lot, so I have quite a lot of experiences with it. And that is that it can make you feel super tired and lethargic all day. So I remember when I was taking NK, even if I slept 8 hours per night, I would still feel like super tired and just like lazy, and I just didn't want to do stuff, you know. So to me it was very annoying because it was very counterproductive towards my goals. So I don't know, like probably not everyone will experience that, but I think that the vast majority of people who take MK677 will notice that it's making them tired and lethargic. So yes, keep that in mind if you plan to use MK677. So I think that's pretty much it for today's video though. To conclude on short, so basically MK677 is a very powerful growth hormone secretagogue, and I still don't think it's completely worthless. I think if you don't have an access to real growth hormone, or you just don't have a money for it, I think it can be used for short periods of time. As I said, if you are recovering from some injury, or if you just want some boost for like a couple of weeks, but I don't think it's worth it to use it long term. And the reason for that are the side effects that I just mentioned. So yes, 2 years ago, or even a year and a half ago, I was super enthusiastic about this drug. I thought it's awesome, but then the more I used it, the more I used it with my clients, even though I didn't use it with many clients, I think only 3. And the more I talked to other people that used it about it, the more I realized that this drug is really not as good. So yes, I changed my opinion about MK677, and I think I was wrong when I was praising it so much and glorifying it and like talking on Instagram and all that, how good it is. Like I take my words back, and I think that I was wrong. So yes, I still don't think it's that bad. Like I still think it can be used in certain situations, but I think that is definitely not as good as I thought it is. So yes, that's it for today's video. I hope you find my video useful. Like always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment to support the channel's growth. If you need online coaching or anything else, just DM me on Instagram, and like always, see you in next video.